What's up, A to Z Sports Live on this Tuesday? It's going to be a big show today because Todd Downing officially fired as Titans offensive coordinator yesterday on NFL's Black Monday, along with three other Titans assistant coaches. We'll go through all of it and react to something I think Titans fans have been waiting for quite some time. And to be honest, I feel like I've been counting down the days for this to happen for almost an entire 12 months, a full year, Zach, as we're going to react to the Titans officially parting ways with four assistant coaches, including Todd Downing in his second year as offensive coordinator and play caller. And what all does this mean? Was it surprising that it did actually happen on NFL's Black Monday? We'll discuss that. Do you hold this against Mike Vrabel, the head coach, of how this went down? And then the elephant in the room that is the DUI that Todd Downing got hours after the Titans won a game for the last time all season back on November 17th and early Friday, November 18th, with the DUI. How much did that DUI impact the decision for the Titans to move on from Todd Downing as offensive coordinator? So a lot of different things to get to here, and including sports trivia. It's our first sports trivia of the new year, I believe. So we'll get this thing locked and loaded. Zach, welcome in. It's going to be a doozy. Let's buckle up.
Yeah, excited to be here on a Tuesday. And, there's going to be a lot of changes, right? Whether changes of people exiting or people entering the franchise with new jobs over the next couple of weeks and maybe months, depending on how the general manager search comes out. So we'll be there every step of the way. So make sure that you lock in and get everything set. We got live streaming shows on all of our platforms. We broadcast live and stream live in the morning on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We will tweet out segment by segment the YouTube link on our Twitter at A to Z Sports. So you can follow us there. That's a great follow, as we've got reporters and good information coming down on our Twitter handle at A to Z Sports. If you've already subscribed to our YouTube channel, which 11,000 have already, we're trying to get to 15. You guys continue to subscribe. If you've already subscribed, hit the like on this particular video that you're watching. We want more Titans fans involved. We want more people watching the show on a daily basis so we can ask them their opinions and, get into arguments on the side, on the chat. That's always fun to watch people debate themselves. So we want more people. So right there, subscribe or like this video if you've already subscribed on YouTube. Facebook, what's going on Facebook? Bottom left corner of your screen, share now to public. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing on this show. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends news feed. So share the show around. More people are going to be piling in over the next 5 to 10 minutes. It is going to be a big show, as Todd Downing has been fired and relieved of his duties, along with three other Titans assistant coaches by Mike Vrabel. Let's get this party started on Tuesday.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over social media, as we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, and we go live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time. On Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show on our Twitter timeline, segment by segment. Also hit us up on Instagram and TikTok for more Titans coverage. We got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process by going to see them in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. That means better coverage rates and service. Learn more about a health plan for you. FBHP.com/ATOZ. And we've got Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers. If you are injured in a car wreck, there's one place to go, Hughes and Coleman, for a free case consultation. Their number is 800-800-4600. So, Zach, the Titans fired Todd Downing as offensive coordinator Monday, right at 4 p.m. Central Time is when it came out. They also fired three other assistant coaches. Offensive line coach Keith Carter let go. Defensive backs coach Anthony Midget let go. An assistant skill coach for the offense, that would be Eric Frazier, let go. So a total of 4, but we all know the headliner in this news is Todd Downing, and it happened on a Monday at 4 p.m., just about 4 hours after Mike Vrabel addressed the Titans media for the last time, where he, walked and talked around several questions about Todd Downing's future. But our A to Z Sports Titans reporter Sam Phelan did ask Mike Vrabel a question about evaluating his coaching staff. And here was what Mike Vrabel said about evaluating coaches during the practice week and in-game performance.
Mike, when you're assessing the coaching staff here, how much of it is based on practice, teaching, development, and how much of it is game execution?
Yeah, I think that there's, you got to teach, you got to develop, and you have to inspire the player. And I think, the play callers, have to be, efficient and be in rhythm and understand what we're trying to do as a team. That we want, to execute the game plan and what I feel like is the best way to win that particular game.
There's there's Mike Vrabel discussing a question that Sam very much was asking about Todd Downing, but disguised under all the coaching staff. But once again, Todd Downing fired, and the other coaches also fired from left to right. Downing, offensive line coach Keith Carter, DB coach Anthony Midget, and then offensive assistant skill coach, that would be Eric Frazier there on the far right. So, Zach, I'll let you kind of go.
What were those position coaches? Who got fired? What was their position? What was their job?
Yeah, I mean, it's, Todd Downing, play caller and offensive coordinator, right? Yeah, offensive line coach Keith Carter, who has been a targeted guy for a couple of years. Anthony Midget, defensive backs coach overall.
There you go.
And then Eric Fisher, I don't think anybody watching this show knew that Eric Fisher was on the coaching staff, but he did, or Eric Frazier, excuse me. Eric Frazier was assistant offensive skill coach. So
that's why I wanted to ask you that. That's all I wanted to know. Let's dive through that. So I will applaud Mike Vrabel for at least having some self-awareness or team awareness of what the hell is wrong with the football team. The play calling, bad, disastrous, right? The offensive line, terrible. A swinging gate put together by, I think we started with duct tape. We then went to scotch tape, and then went to old chewing gum. That's at the end of the year. That's what it was held together by. Defensive backs, brutal. Their pass defense was atrocious at times. Now, look, overall, they had injuries around this, but this was the worst part of this Titans football team in 2022. And you talk about skill position, there was no skill in the skill position of the Tennessee Titans besides Derrick Henry.
So with Eric Frazier, the show is not about Eric Frazier, but his job and his role that I would see him, and I didn't know who he was until I went to go look for pictures, but then it reminded me this morning, Eric Frazier was usually helping out and assisting Rob Moore with the wide receivers when it came to drills, and assisting with that. And I don't know what his job consisted of outside of practice.
Well, that's why you give job titles. So, right, those are the job titles of those four individuals. You see them right there up on the screen. These are the four individuals, and all four of them were assigned to help bad parts of the football team that stayed bad parts of the football team. So I at least like that. That was my first reaction as I went through the list of four guys of this is at least their job title and description. And I can look at the football team and say, well, watching this team over 18 weeks, 3 preseason games and training camp, I can tell you that was those 4 position groups are the worst of the team.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's no, it's a yes.
No, well, the three positions. Todd Downing doesn't have a position group, but yes. I mean, if you want to go with offensive line,
is the offense.
I know, but you said position group, so it's the offensive line, the defensive backs, and the wide receivers are the biggest targets of criticism when you're talking about specific position groups. And then in public enemy number one for a long time has been Todd Downing. And it happened. Like, they got rid of the guy that everybody was calling the longest and the loudest about for changes to be happen was Todd Downing. Absolutely.
Well, and they were 30th in total offense.
Yeah.
Like you can't run away from that statistic, and you also can't run away from 7 games at the end of the season where you lost every single solitary one of them and you missed the playoffs because of it. And you had an opportunity. We all know about the injuries and the different players. This was a very similar repeat year of a season prior with all of the injuries. We sat there and said, "Oh, it can't get any worse." Well, it got worse. I mean, I think it definitely got worse. Now, Derrick Henry played, which didn't happen the year prior in 2021, but this past year they were decimated. That is the one word to describe that. But at the end of the day, no one cares. That's the NFL. That's life. That's business. That's being an employee. No one cares if you can't do your job correctly.
Yeah.
And I think Mike Vrabel, there were times that you heard Mike Vrabel throughout the course of the season and really throughout the course of that 7-game losing streak get frustrated, right? Work harder. Don't just go from 8 to 5. Stay longer. Do more. Push, squeeze. And good teams don't really need that type of language. And that's what they were dealing with. And that's why there's 4 casualties on this coaching staff.
And Mike Vrabel did say that message that he said after, I believe, was the loss to the Jags following the firing of John Robinson, was, that went to the coaches as well. So there's a lot of, look, Mike Vrabel's press conference was hot fire yesterday, and we're not going to use that much of it today. But we will, and we'll play it, what he said about Downing and everything moving forward. But he called out players by name. He called for several problems. He talked about strength and conditioning and rehab and recovery from injuries, which I'm working on a nice big conversation with educated individuals from the Bone and Joint Institute to help us learn about what's going on with this. And so we will have full topics about a lot of things that Mike Vrabel said in his press conference yesterday to wrap up the Titans season. But today is about Todd Downing getting fired. And Zach, we're about to get into a lot more of this and get everybody more involved. But my reaction is I waited probably an hour before I tweeted something about Todd Downing's firing because I was trying to figure out and put into words my exact feelings. Todd Downing should have been fired a year ago. But Mike Vrabel on last year's, in January of 2022, I want to say specifically January 24th, 2022, which was the Monday after the Titans lost to the Bengals, Mike Vrabel said Todd Downing did a great job that season as offensive coordinator. Well, a year later, Mike Vrabel made us all watch 17 more games of excruciating mediocrity of Todd Downing calling offensive plays in the NFL. He had no feel for in-game play calling. He had no rhythm. He had no understanding and grasp of important in-game situations. And Mike Vrabel calls football a situational game. And that's what it is. That's what they practice. And Todd Downing was not good at that part of his job of play calling. And so, Zach, I want to ask this question to everybody, and I'll let you react to kind of what I just said there. But do you hold Todd Downing's Titans offensive coordinator tenure against Mike Vrabel? Do you hold Todd Downing's OC tenure against the head coach, Mike Vrabel? It's a yes or no. We want your opinions. But first, Zach, tell us about Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Yeah, FBHP.com is where to go to get your new health plan. I got my new health plan last year, and I carried it over into 2023. That was not like a Todd Downing. My health plan, I'm confident in it. It provides a good service. It's reliable. It gets me what I need. And it doesn't cost as much, which is great compared to other plans. Health, dental, and vision, 200-plus locations across the state of Tennessee. Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee has helped me and can help thousands, hundreds of thousands across the state with 200-plus locations in Tennessee. And they do every single year. Take a health assessment. It takes 25 minutes. It's very easy. And then get a quote and then make your decision. That's fbhp.com/ATOZ.
Also, don't forget with the BetMGM app, hey, I took advantage of the college football final deal last night. I put $25 on Georgia minus 13.5, won that with incredible ease. But now it is time to look forward to the NBA and take advantage of NBA one-game parlay insurance. You go into the BetMGM app, you opt in to the NBA one-game parlay insurance, and you get up to $25 of insurance on NBA one-game parlays of 4 legs or more. Zach, you know this. I've lived off of 4-leg NBA one-game parlays the last 2 years, and I'm waiting to do it for year 3 with BetMGM, because if you lose it by 1 leg, you get up to that $25 back in insurance right there with the BetMGM app. So, Zach, a lot to take it away from. I'm going to let you respond to my thoughts and read the chat here in a second. But the Titans did fire Titans offensive coordinator Todd Downing, O-line coach Keith Carter, DB coach Anthony Midget, and assistant offensive skill coach Eric Frazier. That's left to right there on your screen. But we're asking the question to the chat right now is, do you hold Todd Downing's Titans OC tenure against head coach Mike Vrabel? Zach, I'll let you take it from there.
So Connor says yes. Steven says no. Honky Tonk says yes. Eric says yes. Hell yes from Joseph. Lane says yes. Dwayne says hell yes. Cioto says no. Yes from Stephen King. Also yes from Tighten Up and Rambo. Pistol says no. J-Rob, and I'm going to stop there, and then I'll read some more of your comments. Austin, you sat there and you said what you said, and I think what this confirmed, and we talked a lot throughout the course of the season about 2 things. What's the problem with this team? Is it talent or is it coaching? Well, I think in order, we found out that the Titans believed that it was talent and then coaching. But both were massive problems because at the end of the day, they've ridded themselves of both, right? The coaching of the players of the bad offense that was 30th overall in total offense, and the general manager, John Robinson, who was picking these players that were either getting hurt or not playing very well on the field. So it is a category of both. But I think now that the dust has settled, we have a full figure that both talent and coaching was a massive problem, and probably it scaled over multiple years, not just, the last couple of months, not just, the last game on Saturday night. This was a bigger problem, and now they're going to have to restructure a little bit. I'm going to read some more comments saying, do you hold Mike Vrabel basically against, do you hold that against Mike Vrabel of the tenure of Todd Downing? Simon says no. Yes, obviously from Grim Jim. Titans and Truth says absolutely. Darius says yep. Adam, yes. Denise, yes. 2 year yes, 1 year no from Zach Goodman. So kind of separating it there.
And that's fair. That's a good separation. That's a fair comment.
But I do think that the majority of the chat says yes. What do you say?
Well, real quick, Timothy says, as a former coach himself, he sees massive technique and assignment issues every week that his high school teams did better than the Titans. Now, I think if you say overall, I think the Titans, since Mike Vrabel has been the head coach, have been considered a well-coached football team. So I think that's fair to say. I also think it's fair to say that Todd Downing did not have an easy gig as Titans offensive coordinator the last 2 years, with all the injuries that they accrued that we will have plenty of shows about moving forward. So I do understand that. But the fact of the matter is, Todd Downing was not a good play caller when it comes to in-game situations and big moments, a la running 24 times on 1st and 10 compared to 4 pass plays against the Jags on Saturday night, and not using Josh Dobbs' legs by design on 1st down until the 22nd 1st and 10 run play call. So there's a lot of things to get into, right? But yes, Mike Vrabel, this does deserve to be held against the head coach, Mike Vrabel, because as I tweeted yesterday, Todd Downing should have been fired a year ago, but we had to go through and watch this. And I had several comments on both sides responding to that tweet there. And Jimmy, who I'm going to bring up, and this is a fair thing for Jimmy to say, but Jimmy said, dude, the Titans were the 1 seed. You can't fire someone in that situation. To which I respond, yeah, the hell you can. That's called being proactive. That's called not sitting and resting on your successes of going 12-5, getting the 1 seed, and then just saying, look how great we are. You absolutely can fire somebody in that situation because you have to look inside. And I think Mike Vrabel does this. And he is a good head coach and a great head coach at times. He won the NFL Head Coach of the Year just about 12 months ago. But yes, you could fire Todd Downing after last year because Todd Downing was not good in year 1. Todd Downing, if you go back to the Bengals game, when you have Greg Cosell of NFL Films, who has watched more film than all of us combined in this virtual room over his lifetime of the NFL, when he pointed out the play design mistakes on the Jesse Bates interception on play numero uno against the Bengals on January 22nd, 2022. Yes, that's Todd Downing's fault. When Greg Cosell can point out that Mike Hilton knew the Titans were going to run the exact bubble screen to Chester Rogers on the goal line on 1st and goal from the 9-yard line in that game. Yes, that's Todd Downing's fault because his tendencies were to call that exact play. And so Todd Downing had so many things that were negative marks on his resume, so to speak, over the last 2 seasons that it does need to be held against Mike Vrabel because it would have been the correct move to fire him last year. It would have been a gutsy move to fire Todd Downing after his first year, but it would have been a move that would have helped the franchise. And I don't know where the Titans would be, where everybody would be if Downing was let go after last season, but I feel like they'd be in the playoffs. Now, it doesn't mean that their future would be great, but I think they would have been better this season without Todd Downing.
Well, Noah brings up the fact, and look, there's 2 sides to the story, and I think that's what we're talking about. Noah says, when you look at it, Vrabel was put in a terrible situation with Downing. He wasn't able to get a complete evaluation of him last year. Then you add in the fact that you don't change coaches during the year. Now, that last part is Vrabel's fault, but the previous statement is, I do think something with, I think that was, we have to understand why. You have to understand the why. It doesn't mean that it is correct or right, and hindsight's always 20/20. But Austin, I think we both adamantly disagreed with the statement of that Todd Downing was great in 2021, right?
Yeah.
When he said that, we all were like, red flag, what are you talking
Mike
about?
Vrabel said that, right?
Yes.
He said Todd Downing did a great job.
But I do think, to Noah's point, the why is, I think Mike Vrabel's mindset is, what just happened to us is not going to happen to us again. We're not going to be as decimated. In the history of the NFL, we were the most injured team in 2021 in all of pro football ever. And Todd Downing didn't have Derrick Henry for the majority of the season and still won games. He didn't have Julio Jones for the majority of the season and still won games. He didn't have A.J. Brown at times and still won games. And so I think that was the why. Now, I agree with you of that doesn't matter. You've got to make the decisions to help the football team. And look what has happened. It wasn't a comfortable spot for Amy Adams Strunk to sign John Robinson to a 4-year extension and then fire him 8 to 10 months later. It wasn't like an easy spot for her to fire Mike Mularkey after making the playoffs, which rarely happens, right? Firing a head coach after make the playoffs.
And winning a playoff game.
That was a gutsy call, right?
Yes.
Austin, I do think that the decisions over the last 365 days now are starting to reveal itself of Mike Vrabel's inexperience of being a head coach full circle. I think Mike Vrabel is an outstanding head coach. I think we've all documented that. That's why he's a good players coach. He tries to get the most out of his guys. I think that we've seen that. But big time decision making with relationships and having to fire guys that you don't necessarily want to, this is the first real test that he's actually had to go through, Austin. Look at his head coaching tenure.
Yeah.
Matt LaFleur, left. You have that. You also had Arthur Smith. He left. Shane Bowen stayed and got another chance, and it worked out.
Yeah.
So this is the first true big real decision. And so diagnosing the why and then where we are now, I do think that this is a product of Mike Vrabel's inexperience as a full circle head coach in the NFL. And look, he's had a lot of curveballs thrown at him, right? I mean, his general manager got fired in the middle of the season. He's been injured. His quarterback got hurt. All of these things. He had to go up to the podium because his owner wouldn't stand up. Like, he's been thrown into a lot of uncomfortable situations. But this is truly the first time that he's had to make a decision to fire a guy kind of against his own thought process.
Yeah.
And now we've seen it for the first time.
Yeah. So honestly, your comments there, I think, are spot on. I want to get to a lot of my reactions, and it made me think of a couple different things when you said that regarding what Amy Adams Strunk has done in her past and regarding what Mike Vrabel's past is too. And then also what you said about the now rotating door at offensive coordinator. Real quick, Phil.
I want to clarify real quick.
Okay.
What I said is not an excuse for Mike Vrabel. It's just diagnosing his history as a head coach and what he has and has not done before.
Sure. So I don't want to get to, is the jackpot lunch money split $10 even?
If we get to $9.99 or
It's Sam lunch
greater,
money.
it is jackpot bucks.
I think $9.99 is Sam
below,
lunch money.
No. $9.99 because of how YouTube is set up.
Okay.
$9.99 is jackpot bucks.
Got
and
it.
anything below is lunch money.
All right. So Philip gives some jackpot bucks here. It was a lazy hire by Vrabel. He wanted to interview Tim Kelly, but was denied by the Texans for the interview. And he interviewed Pep Hamilton to please the Rooney Rule and just gave the job to Downing. We'll repeat again with Tim Kelly. We'll find out what the decision is moving forward with the Titans OC, but we're talking more right now about what's happened in Amy Adams Strunk past, Mike Vrabel's past, and where I think Mike Vrabel missed specifically on the Todd Downing situation. But first, let me tell everybody about Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers. They are the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans and of A to Z Sports. So if you get injured in a car wreck, which we wish on nobody watching the show and nobody that you guys know, I hope everybody drives safe and ends up to be okay. But things happen. We all know that. And if you get hurt in a car wreck, you need to have somebody that you can trust to go fight against the insurance company to get you every dollar you deserve to get through that horrific accident and get back to what your life needs to be. And Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers, they're trusted by the Titans and A to Z Sports, and they've recovered over $1 billion for their clients across the last 30 years in Tennessee and Kentucky, and will do that for you. It's easy. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call Hughes and Coleman for a free case consultation. Their phone number, 800-800-4600. That's 800-800-4600, principal office in Nashville, Tennessee.
Download the BetMGM app. They are sponsored here, right here on A to Z Sports, the title sponsor. We love BetMGM. Download the app. I also won money on Georgia first half and Georgia overall. So that was easy money. I went to sleep even before the game was over. So I went to bed nice, woke up in the morning. It was deposited in my account. Promo code ATOZ Sports. New users use that promo code, and you get, as Austin said earlier, NBA one-game parlay insurance. Opt in to the BetMGM app, get up to $25 of insurance on NBA one-game parlays of 4 legs or more. So that insurance is crucial. The NBA is going to heat up. You got NFL playoffs. We got you covered with BetMGM.
All right, so Zach, you brought up several great points about Mike Vrabel really being the first time in his NFL head coach career that he did not handle a situation as proactively as maybe he could. That's at least my opinion. Taking your words and adding my opinion to it, I think Mike Vrabel should have been more proactive and should have fired Todd Downing last January after his first year as Titans offensive coordinator. In my opinion, the Titans would be in the playoffs if that move was made. Now, the right coach would have been had to hire after that, but I think Todd Downing was honestly that bad. So I'm looking in the past. I'm looking at examples of people that Mike Vrabel has been around and how they have been proactive in the right ways. Mike Vrabel was hired by Amy Adams Strunk and John Robinson to be the head coach. Amy Adams Strunk, Zach, you brought it up perfectly, was proactive in how she got to have Mike Vrabel as the Titans head coach. After the 2017 season, when Mike Mularkey went 9-7, they had a bad stretch there at the end of the year, but they made the playoffs. They won a playoff game on the road, and Mike Mularkey was fired by Amy Adams Strunk, not because of not meeting the expectations that season, because of what Mike Mularkey was unable to do moving forward and not being willing to get rid of other people on his coaching staff, Terry Robisky. But that was a proactive move for the future from Amy Adams Strunk. Zach, Mike Vrabel is known for playing for what franchise the most?
The New England Patriots.
The New England Patriots are so famous and known for moving on from players at the right time and hedging and betting on moving on from a player 1 year too early rather than 1 year too late. Mike Vrabel himself was traded by Bill Belichick and the Patriots to the Kansas City Chiefs probably 1 year too early. And Vrabel's admitted that he didn't talk to Bill Belichick for a while after he was traded away as a team captain and winner of several Super Bowls. The Patriots have done that throughout this Bill Belichick era, move away from the player 1 year early rather than 1 year late. Well, Mike Vrabel moved on from Todd Downing 1 year late instead of maybe a year early. I think it's all about being proactive and diagnosing what the situation is, the job that's been done, and the job and likeliness of that to be better in the future. And Todd Downing just wasn't good enough last year to really think that you could believe in the guy moving forward.
Well, he didn't know enough. That was his justification.
And so another thing I wanted to point out too, because you brought up.
That's why I get his words, not like he needed to find out more.
Yeah,
but Austin, he had just done that with Shane Bowen and it worked.
And here's the difference. There is a big difference in the Shane Bowen, Todd Downing situation. And we've talked about this before. Todd Downing had the job title of offensive coordinator and play caller in 2021. In Shane Bowen's first year as the defensive play caller, he did not have the defensive coordinator job title. Teron Davenport of ESPN reported on this. We all know this. We've seen this, that Shane Bowen's job title was outside linebackers coach.
Yeah, but he was doing like 80% of
Zach,
the defensive coordinating.
But what do you know, Zach? 80% is not good enough. Like you talk about that all the time on this show, right? And so Shane Bowen's job title and job description was outside linebackers coach.
But
so
Austin,
Shane,
80%,
hold on, I'm not done.
Mike Vrabel wouldn't allow.
I'm not done. Shane Bowen was tasked the entire week with being a position coach. That's a full job. Being a position coach is a full job. You have to spend every practice session and minute with your position group to get the most out of that. And Shane Bowen had to do that on top of calling plays in the game. What Shane Bowen did not have the ability to do in 2020 that he did have the ability to do in 2021 and 2022 was not be the position coach and be the defensive coordinator, which allows Shane Bowen to float around practice and do the job description and have the job responsibilities of the coordinator.
My point of what you just said is you said 80%. The difference is when I talk about getting 100%, you got to allow the person to do it. And it's about the people not doing it. Mike Vrabel, that 20%, he was not allowing Shane Bowen to do the 20%.
And that's why
Austin, it was impossible for him to do 100%. So your analogy is incorrect in that sense of what you're trying to prove.
But whose fault is that?
That's Mike Vrabel's fault.
Exactly. And so what my disagreement here from you is that Mike Vrabel, it was not correct on Mike Vrabel to say, I gave Shane Bowen a second chance and it worked out better. It's not the same thing as Todd Downing.
It's not Todd Downing. The justification, though, for Todd Downing is the team did not provide, and this is just what I believe that Vrabel thought. At the end of 2021, I think Vrabel thought, and I think we agree that it was the wrong decision. We now know it was, that he thought that the team did not provide enough assets to fully assess Todd Downing from top to bottom as a play caller. That was his justification. Do you not agree with that?
I don't think Mike Vrabel was wrong in that.
That you didn't listen. You didn't listen to what I said. That's not you. You got distracted by The Office. That was improper for you. What I said is this is what I believe Mike Vrabel thought to justify his decision. Do you disagree with that?
No, I don't disagree with that.
Take your music back because you played the song incorrect.
Which is why I believe this Todd Downing's tenure and this year absolutely should be held against Mike Vrabel.
Yes, that's the why. I hold it against. My answer is yes too.
Okay,
because you have to hold him again. If you make a mistake, you need to be punished. You need to be held accountable. Like if you mess up over a period of time, you don't just get, oh, grace, it's okay, it's fine, everything's going to carry on the way that it is. You don't deserve that. That is not how life should work. That's not how business should work. That's not how, in this sense, it's not how coaching should work in relationships. You have, these are wrong decisions. All I think I'm bringing up is the why for Mike Vrabel. Now, the why ended up being wrong, right?
So you, and again, I feel like, was I not dead on right about this for so long? I mean, please. I feel like I'm desperate out here. And what I've been screaming about on our shows for now 15, 16 months.
No, you were ahead of this. I mean, I give 100% credit because I was out on Tannehill after that Bengals game. You were out on Downing. That was exactly
I was out
what
on Downing well before. There are weird things that and you know this, I track things typically throughout Titan seasons. If you want to go back to the 2020 season, I track the inefficiency of the Derrick Henry toss play. Go back to 2021, I tracked how bad Todd Downing's offense was on scoring points on the opening drive of the season. And this past year, I was tracking third down opening drives because those were god-awful too. And that project is not fully complete because I spent the entire Jags game tracking first down play calls. But this is that. Those are Todd Downing problems. Those are play calling, play design tendency problems that Todd Downing has had for the last 2 seasons. And it took Mike Vrabel seeing 35 games of it before he moved on. That's the problem here.
The bigger question,
35 games.
The bigger
18
question
last year, 17 this year.
The bigger question, Austin, and I think we've both seen Mike Vrabel's stubbornness tendencies. Would you agree?
Yep.
Is that going to continue to hold this team back?
Right.
We asked the question. We asked because this really is the question, is if you are, and I think we both said, and I think the chat said, you are going to hold accountable Mike Vrabel based on his stubbornness of not firing Todd Downing after 2021 and dragging it out, not firing him after his DUI, dragging it out, not firing and giving Tim Kelly the reins in the middle of the season because he refused to say we're not changing coaches in the middle of the season. So there's some stubbornness there.
Yeah.
Is this going to be a massive problem to hold the Titans back in the long run? Or do you think that Mike Vrabel can learn and adapt from this?
So
or will he?
I'm going to say this briefly. I'm not going to dive into my full opinion on it. But as long as Mike Vrabel is the head coach, the Titans offensive coordinator position will continue to cause headaches.
Yes. Well,
yes.
Headaches in the long term of what you're betting on, guys, what you're betting on is that Mike Vrabel and the defense get to such a good point and they finally hit on an offensive coordinator and an offense to have them compete consistently. But
Zach,
So your point is the offensive coordinator is going to leave.
Screw it. I'm Mike, and I said this the day, maybe not the day, the week, the month after Mike Vrabel was hired. Whenever you hire a defensive-minded head coach in the NFL, the offensive play caller and coordinator is going to be a rotating door. It's either you're going to have a great one who is successful and your team benefits, then they leave for a head coaching job, or you're going to have a not great one who gets fired and you have to find somebody else. But now we are entering, Zach, 2023 season will be year 6 of Mike Vrabel and the 4th offensive coordinator in 6 years. 2 years of bad, and you can say 3 years of good. Matt LaFleur was 1 year. Arthur Smith, he held on for 2 years. And so you're sitting here with a problem that's not going away.
Average. I wouldn't say good, but
who?
Matt LaFleur was average.
Okay, so now you're sitting here with a 50% hit rate on offensive coordinators in 5 years of Mike Vrabel. And so it's going to continue to be a problem. And John, I knew this was going to happen. I am not calling for Mike Vrabel to be fired. Mike Vrabel is a damn good head coach in the NFL. And if the Titans fire him, then he will get scooped up the very next day. But Mike Vrabel is a defensive guy. We know what this NFL is going towards. It's offense. And whenever you attach yourself to a defensive head coach, the offensive play caller is going to be an issue.
Do you know the one way to combat that?
To get a generational quarterback?
Yes. Get a really good quarterback.
Even then, man.
No, not even then. Because Austin, you said it earlier. You talked about the New England Patriots and their philosophy. You know why their philosophy worked? Because they had Tom Brady.
Yeah, but that's freaking Tom Brady, dude.
Exactly.
Like,
no, but a generational, it would work if you had Patrick Mahomes. It would work if you had Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is saying, hey, you know where my window is closed? When I'm gone. That's the damn truth.
Yeah, but like
Joe Burrow told you exactly how to combat this problem, because I don't disagree that it will be an issue and continue to be an issue, but where you have to align, and I think this is the kind of exciting part about the next couple of years for the Tennessee Titans, is they've got to go replace Ryan Tannehill and find their generational quarterback.
Yeah, I mean that is every
and
NFL
even if it's
team,
in the short term, if they go and trade for Aaron Rodgers, that still will help them tremendously to at least compete for a championship.
But Zach, that's just duct tape. Like again, look, the
Los Angeles Rams, their duct tape pretty shiny. Their duct tape worked.
But again, now they're going to have to completely reset.
It doesn't matter. Every Rams fan would say do it. Every Titans fan would say right now, if you could guarantee a Super Bowl like the Rams, they'd take it. So you can't be afraid of that.
I'm not saying you be afraid. I'm just saying you have to weigh the balance of longevity and immediacy. And it's not, it's whatever. That's a personal preference thing, which is fine. And that's a great conversation we can have. But, I just feel like there are probably 25 teams out of 32 in the NFL that can say, yeah, we need to go find our generational quarterback. And there's just not that many guys out there to fall to all the teams who want one. There are a few guys in the NFL right now that you can call generational talents at quarterback. And there's a lot of other needy teams that don't have it and that don't have one guy coming up. Like we don't know what these quarterbacks in the draft are going to be.
But Austin, the Titans have been in purgatory. That's the point, is they haven't been at the bottom of the barrel like the Texans and the Jags, so they have the opportunity to draft them. They haven't been winning and consistently just making the Super Bowl. They've been in purgatory. That is my whole point of what I'm saying, is that they have finally, I think, realized that the players that they have picked are just not good enough. The system offensively that they're running around Derrick Henry is just not good enough to win in this league. And now they're going to reset. They're going to get a new offensive coordinator. I don't know if they're going to get a new quarterback, but I really hope that they do. And if it's not next year, it's the following year. So change is on the horizon. Change is going to come. I'll tell you that. And that is the positive of what all of these things are that we're talking about, is that they're no longer going to think that they're the number one seed in the AFC and everything's going to be okay and their system works.
All right,
it's been proven that it doesn't.
All right, let's get to this because I do find it interesting. So how much, back on the Todd Downing thing, because we'll talk about quarterback and everything. Mike Vrabel had some pretty interesting comments yesterday in his press conference about the quarterback position moving forward. But let's get back to Todd Downing and ask the elephant in the room question. How much did Todd Downing's DUI impact his firing? A lot, a little, or not at all? How much did Todd Downing's DUI impact his firing? A lot, a little, or not at all? But Zach, I'll tell you where you can save a lot going to get your new car.
Yeah, that is, you're going to tell me. I'm going to tell you.
Sorry, my bad. You can I'm going to tell me. I'm going to tell you where you can tell them.
I'll tell you where to go. You need to get in your car, drive down I-40, exit 236, and go to Wilson County Hyundai today and check out their inventory. Look at the Palisade, which is a full-size SUV, third row seating. Look at the Sonata. Look at the Elantra, the Tucson, the Santa Fe. I mean, they have your perfect make and model. The Ioniq, which is battery powered. All you've got to do is go to wilsoncountyhyundai.com. That's wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Check out their inventory, and they'll hook you up with a perfect ride. Payne Bone owns this dealership, family owned and operated. That's wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Also, don't forget, with the BetMGM app, you can play NBA one-game parlays now, and you can get insurance on those NBA one-game parlays up to $25 when you opt into that feature in the BetMGM app. I suggest you do it because I've been playing those one-game NBA parlays the last couple of seasons, and having the insurance is a big deal because you get up to $25 back on one-game parlay NBA insurance when your 4-leg one-game parlay or more loses by just one leg. It's a great way to jump on board the NBA. It's the right time to start betting on the NBA because now teams, you figured out more about players and props and who's good, who's bad, overs, unders, tendencies, everything right there. So opt into the NBA one-game parlay insurance feature, and you get up to $25 back in insurance if your one-game parlay of 4 legs or more comes up one leg short. Visit betmgm.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only. All promotions are subject to qualification, eligible requirements. Rewards issued with knowledgeable free bets to credit for best expiring 7 days. For problem game support, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Zach, going to ask this question here for everybody in the chat. How much did Todd Downing's DUI impact his firing? A lot, a little, or not at all? A lot or little or not at all?
So I think a little. I think that it definitely impacted the whole situation. And when that happened, everything crumbled, right? I mean, everything absolutely fell apart after that DUI, but they didn't do anything, right? They held tough. And I think that they held tough on the standpoint of, I mean, he didn't miss a game, did he?
No.
Not a single solitary game. He was on the sidelines after that DUI. Now, that DUI is a legal issue, right? But we've seen plenty of times in the NFL of teams suspending players and coaches for legal issues. They took the approach of we're going to let everything play out. Whether he did or did not drive drunk, that is now going through the legal process. But I do think it had an impact. So that's why I can't say not at all, because I think it impacted him staying, and I also think it ended up impacted him leaving. Because after the DUI, as I've stated on this show before, is think about where he was accused of the DUI and what that timetable was.
He was charged. He was charged with the DUI. So the breathalyzer was, was never released actually. But
did he blow?
That is something that as Sam tried several times to go get that report. It never did come out. They have tried to hold that under, it's still investigation ongoing, but the breathalyzer has not come out. He did fail the field sobriety test. And there was smell of alcohol coming from the car with bloodshot eyes. He was charged with a DUI though.
Right.
So he wasn't accused. This was not an accusation. It was a charge with a DUI. It's a little bit different.
And we'll see what happens in the end. I mean, whether that will matter or Titans fans will even care by the time that legal process plays its role. But he was coming off of a Packers win and coming from the Titans facility based on the timeline after presumably drinking alcohol on the plane. I also think you get into that legal matter when it comes to an NFL franchise. And we saw some of the other movement around the NFL of preventing alcohol on the plane. So I do think that it had an impact a little. I don't think that it was, I mean, the thing that sealed his fate was he was 30th as a play caller in total offense in the NFL and missed the playoffs and lost his last 7 games because they never scored 30 or more points. And the last like 4 or 5 games, the offense couldn't get to 20 points, much less 30.
Couldn't get to 17. Couldn't even get 2 touchdowns and a field goal in a lot of games. So just real quick, Lucas asked, can you get police body cam footage? A to Z Sports has requested everything from all of that and dating back to that weekend. And, nothing was able to come back. There was ongoing investigations that blocked all of that from getting to us.
Well, and I want to say this, and Ryan says not at all, because if it had been, he would have been fired the day after. Ryan, that's what I'm trying to explain is there are repercussions of who knows what would have happened if he would have consumed alcohol on a team plane and gotten a DUI right after that. There's liability surrounding that. And so I do think that the team and probably the legal team of the Tennessee Titans had a conversation and said, look, there could be a possibility that if you fire an individual for cause, but you helped with the cause, that he could come back and sue the franchise.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there, but here's my opinion. I think if the DUI did not happen, still Todd Downing would not have been back as Titans offensive coordinator. I believe the performance in the game.
I thought you said you were surprised.
What?
That it happened.
I was surprised that it happened yesterday. I was surprised that Mike Vrabel pulled the trigger on Monday after the season ended. I thought there would at least be a couple days or almost a full week before Mike Vrabel would do something like that, because it feels like Vrabel is somebody who takes his time doing things. But I was surprised at the timing. But I still think that without the DUI, Todd Downing's job was done and over as Titans offensive coordinator because of the on-field performance over the 35 games that he was in charge of calling plays.
I think that, yes, that was like the 95% reason. But I do think that, the final seal, the final lick of the envelope of the pink slip was the DUI that prevented any thought process of him returning.
I mean,
there was now no way that he could have returned after that debacle in the middle of the season.
If Todd Downing's offensive coordinator career with the Titans was him hanging off a cliff and he had one finger left holding on that cliff, the DUI was the one kick of the last finger. But he was going to fall regardless. Like that cliff, he was off the cliff regardless in that situation, which is what I'm saying. So I honestly, not at all is my answer, because I think he would have been fired without the DUI. But yes, the DUI probably was the last thing to kind of push him over the edge.
Yeah. And it was a guy who Titans fans wanted fired for the entire season, starting, towards the beginning, and it never happened. And all of that tension. I mean, look at the bottom of the screen. Some Titans fan took the time to go to Walgreens and buy a sign, a cardboard, buy markers. This guy doesn't buy markers usually. He bought markers to make a sign for a home game. Looked like Christmas because he's got a Santa hat on that said "Fire Todd Downing." And what you can't see, it just says "Bye-bye, see ya later." Like, that's what the point that it got to, that I thought that the Titans as an organization and Mike Vrabel could no longer ignore.
All right, we'll wrap that up. Let's get to Tuesday sports trivia to wrap up this Tuesday show on a positive note, hopefully for our sake, a positive note for Tuesday sports trivia. But first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, You got to know who to trust and who to go to. And the folks in Franklin at the Bone and Joint Institute can get you healthy and back on track to going back to your regular healthy life. So check them out, boneandjointtn.org.
A to Z Sports presented by BetMGM. We love BetMGM. Download the app today. Use the promo code ATOZ Sports in your Apple or Android store. They are the king of the sportsbook. You can download it on your phone. They're hooking you up with great deals. Hopefully we get a great deal here on Sports Trivia.
Tuesday Sports Trivia here to wrap up this big show as Todd Downing was relieved of his job yesterday by the Tennessee Titans. So, Zach, we got 5 questions, 4 sports, 1 non-sports. Let's jump to it.
Who won the national championship last night?
Is that it? Georgia, right?
Georgia football trivia. We're going to start off with that.
Okay.
Where and what year did Georgia play its first football game? Hardy Field, Athens, Georgia, 1892. Sanford Field, Athens, Georgia, 1892. Auburn's Jordan Field, Auburn, Alabama, 1891. Or Sanford Field, Athens, Georgia, 1891. So essentially, we're asking where and what year did Georgia play its first game? You have Hardy Field or Sanford Field in Athens, Georgia in 1892. So you can have those 2 choices.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn's Jordan Field, Auburn, Alabama, 1891, or Sanford Field, 1891.
Orlando says Sanford, 1891.
Sanford is what makes
current,
the most sense. It's the current stadium, right?
Yeah, Jake says 1891 Sanford. The Sanford Stadium, Sanford Field. I mean, I know.
Dom we're debating is 1892 or 1891.
Well, Dom says 1892 is the year he knows for a fact. 1892 Sanford? That's an option?
1892 Sanford.
All right, let's lock that in. Final A to Z.
Ooh. Georgia played and won its first football game 52-0 against Mercer at Hardy Field. The field located on North Campus of the University of Georgia was named after Dr. Charles Hardy, the man who introduced football to Georgia. Hardy Field, 1892.
So we had the year. We had the wrong field.
Damn. That's not
all
good.
Right. 0-1.
The Rose Bowl was once played in North Carolina. True or false?
True. Duke Stadium. World War II.
Wow.
Book it, baby. How about that? I've been to a Duke football game. And
you want to lock that in?
Yeah, we'll lock that in. Final A to Z.
Pearl Harbor decided to move the game to a less vulnerable site. 1942. Oregon State beat Duke 20-16. Easy peasy.
1-1. All right.
Who was the first black player to win the Heisman Trophy?
No.
No, he gets to submit.
Damn.
Who won the?
Oh, wait. Is this Georgia trivia?
No. This is college football trivia.
Preston says Archie Griffin. Archie Griffin was somebody that I was thinking, but I know he won it twice, but I don't know if he was the. Caleb. Ernie Davis, Syracuse. Lock it in, Caleb says. Ernie Davis. Nate says it's a movie. So let's go with Ernie Davis, final A to Z.
All right. 1961, Ernie Davis.
Boom. How about that? 2-1.
Wow. What NCAA Division I football team was the first to win its first 6 games of the season and then lose its next 6 regular season games to finish 6-6? So who's the first football team to win 6 games and lose 6 games? It's kind of like the Titans.
So let's think about this in the because it said regular season, right?
Yeah, there are multiple choice. Idaho State, Iowa, Illinois, or Indiana State University.
So they moved to a 12-game regular season in like the early 2000s. I think Iowa.
I mean,
Iowa or Illinois is a good one too. I feel like Illinois, because they probably have like 4 cupcake non-conferences and then play like some bad Big Ten teams. They get to 6-0 and then they have to play the actual Big Ten teams after that.
Yeah, well, this is the first to do it. That's the hard thing.
It's either Iowa or Illinois for me. I don't know. You got any? I think it's Illinois. I'm gonna because Kirk Ferentz has been around too long. I think it's Illinois. I'm gonna go Illinois. Final A to Z. Yeah.
Wow, this was in 2011.
I knew it had to be somewhat recently.
Started out like a house on fire, 6-0, but then lost their next 6 games to finish 6-6. Head coach, former Florida Gator head coach
Ron Zook, Illinois.
I remember this season.
Yeah. All right, 2-1, right? We missed Georgia Stadium. We got Duke. We got that one. No, 3-1 because we got the Heisman. So that was our last sports one, right?
Correct.
All right. So now on the non-sports, can we get to 4-1? This would be big.
Literature.
Not good for my.
Why was playwright Joe Orton sent to prison in 1962? Why was playwright Joe Orton sent to prison in 1962? Armed robbery, accidental manslaughter, tax fraud, or defacing library books? Ooh, defacing library books is a very literature thing to get arrested for.
I'm going to say it's is it a trick question? Is it that easy?
Accidental manslaughter is good. It's not good. But.
Tax fraud, accidental manslaughter.
Joe Orton, prison, 1962. We need something to lock in because I don't. Defacing library books, I think, makes sense. Prison, though?
Orlando says he stole books. Read a book called The Boom there about it.
So is that armed robbery?
Would that be? Orlando, do you know any other information?
All right, so we're between defacing library books and armed robbery. What do you want to do?
I feel like Orlando says defacing books. So let's go with defacing books. Book called The Book Thief. So let's go with defacing books, final A to Z.
Joe Orton was sentenced to 6 months in prison for removing books from several local libraries and modifying the cover art or blurbs before returning them to the shelves in 1962.
All right. Got ourselves a 4-1 week.
We needed that.
We did. I'm going to have to go back and calculate because we haven't done trivia in a couple weeks. So I'm going to have to go back and figure out where we're at. But that was a big deal right there. So 4-1. It's a big success there. It's hard with these 5 questions to get a good record.
There's very little room for error.
Yeah. Yep. And, Georgia's first game, where it was played and what year, that's a lot of room for mistakes there, but we did a pretty good job.
There you go.
All right, guys. Well, heck of a show this morning. A lot is to be discussed moving forward, especially with the removal of Todd Downing and the 4 other coaches. But we're going to have a lot of time to react to all of this when it comes to our YouTube channel, more live stream shows throughout the offseason and topics to get to. Buck Rising will be live tonight, A to Z Sports Primetime at 8 p.m. Central Time. If you missed any of the content from Titans Locker Room Cleanout Day, it's great. I suggest you go check it out on the YouTube channel and like the show before you go and subscribe while you're here. And we appreciate it as always. See you tomorrow on a Wednesday.
Adios.